Good morning. Okay, we'll make a start. So this morning we are looking at reference materials when we are reading. So our aims and outcomes. So by the end of this session, you must be able to use some reference materials and resources such as glossaries, keys and legends, and visual aids, and use those things to find word meanings in different text types, both straightforward and complex. You should also be able to use a range of reference materials and resources such as glossaries, keys and legends, visual aids, footnotes and endnotes, and you could identify primary, secondary and tertiary sources. So if you come across a word or a phrase when you are reading a text, what do you do? So what would you do if you didn't understand a word or phrase? So can anybody suggest what they might do?
Use dictionary.
Yeah, use a dictionary. Anything else that you could do?
Or Google.
Yeah, Google. Good. So we've got a selection of things you could use. So reference tools. So Wikipedia, dictionary, you could ask someone else, thesaurus, look on the internet. So use Google. Excuse me. Get the glossary if there is one in the document that you are reading, and use the key again if there is one. So they're all sources of reference that we can use to help us. So in-text references. So within the text that you are reading, they consist of features such as these: a glossary, a legend and or key, visual aids such as a diagram, a photograph, an illustration, and footnotes and endnotes, which are very similar, but we'll look at those in a few minutes. So a glossary. And this is a list of terms in a special subject, field, or area of usage. So they're specialised vocabulary that might not be known to everyone that is reading the text. And because the author of the text is aware of this, they include a glossary. So it's like a miniature dictionary, just giving the meanings of these specific technical terms or subject-specific terms. So it could be a word or it could be a short phrase. So if I read this out loud, and you can see that the glossary is there to help us with understanding. The front side of the oak drawer was more than 3 times as long as the height of the side panels that I was planning to make. So I decided to use that to make the adjacent panels, readying the wood by unscrewing and removing 2 drawer handles, gently knocking the drawer apart with a driving batten. So the driving batten, the author of this text knows that not everybody might know what that is. So it's quite specific to joinery or carpentry. And so there we can look at the glossary and see it's a small headed hammer. It was quite easy as it was only held together with dove joints. Again, not everybody might know what this is. So we look at the glossary and we can see they are interlocking joints. Hacksawing the wood to length, measuring from both ends to make the cut so that both pieces are retained. So both pieces retain the dove joints. Placing a mason square, So again, we can refer to the glossary, and it's a tool for marking straight lines and right angles. For placing the mason square above the dove joint, marking a straight line and using a handsaw, cutting down to the depth of the dove joints. Using a chisel to bang out the dove joints, leaving a near perfect half joint, almost the same depth as the thickness of the shelf. Okay, so that's explaining how this joiner or carpenter was making some drawers possibly, and we've got that glossary there to help us with the understanding of the terminology. So a key and legend. So a key is often found on a map, and it lists and explains the symbols within the map, or it's not always on a map, but that's the most common place you would find one. It could be on a chart, a diagram, and the key will explain the symbols. So if we can see there's a map there, and the key to the right shows us that 22 in a circle is a local route. That's just an example. If we see the map, we can see there's lots of different numbers in circles like that, and they are local routes. And then the blue flag with a number on is an interstate route. So that's the key. It tells us exactly what a symbol means. The legend is a general explanation of what the key is telling us. So it says here, key refers to the highways of California. Highway numbers are just examples. So as I've explained, the 22 in the circle, it could be any number. It's just showing you what the number in the circle means on the map. And the key, the legend explains this. It explains how to use the key. Sorry, spinning a bit. So text may refer to visual aids alongside the writing. So you're reading a text and there's an image there. It could be a photograph, an illustration, a diagram, a graph, and so on. And the text, it could be just there as extra information to look at when you finish reading the text, but it might actually be referred to as well within the text. So apologies, I didn't actually type this myself, and there are some errors in the grammar in this and a spelling mistake as well, so you might spot them. But anyway, I'll read it out loud and you'll see it refers to that map there. So, riding coast to coast in 3 days with Alan Smithick. Age 40, overweight and single, I decided to turn my life around. A work colleague suggested getting in training to do the annual Old Sussexonians 104-mile 3-day trip from Whittard in Essex to Winchelsea on the Sussex coast. The route, as pictured on the right, involved a mix of rural beauty and London chaos. It was to change my life. Okay, so it's just referred briefly there in the brackets, as pictured on the right. It refers to the picture. So the visual aid is giving additional information to the reader, because we can then visualise the route that is taken in this example. Or it may be that you're visualising some statistical information, which can be quite hard to digest, but if it's shown in a graph, then it's easier to understand. So they're an aid, visual aid, it aids our understanding. So footnotes, and these most commonly we'll see these in academic type texts rather than fiction. Sometimes we do have footnotes in fiction, but it's more common in a non-fiction, more academic type text. So that could be a textbook, an article, and so on. So footnotes appear at the bottom of pages of text to refer to other sources of information, and they could be a direct quote, a summary, or paraphrasing, and can be very detailed like this one. It has been argued over and over again that one should pronounce scone a certain way, and then we can see the little one there. So we can look down to the bottom of the page, the foot of the page, and we can see that John Lamb in Perfect Pronunciation from Augment to Xanthip, Cumberland, WordPress 1990, page 78 to 90, that he has argued it. So it's telling us who has made this argument that one should pronounce scone in a certain way. However, Neville has recently produced conclusive evidence that it should really be pronounced one way, claiming the original Scottish is with a long O, as in toast. And then we see the little 2, and we can look down and find Neville's, what text of Neville's that the writer is referring to. So the footnotes could be a direct quote, such as 2, where the original Scottish is with a long O, or it could be referring to where arguments have been made, you know, a general reference to another book or text. So it can be used for both purposes, a footnote. And these footnotes have used the Harvard method of referencing, which is the one which is most commonly required if you are ever writing academic texts. For example, if you're studying and for a qualification, higher education, they will expect you to use Harvard referencing generally. And it's very specific how you do that, and that's been done here. So it's the author, title of the document or text, book, so on, then the publisher, year of publication, and the pages that the information is from. So it is quite specific how footnotes are formulated, how you need to write them. And endnotes, they're exactly the same as footnotes, but rather than being at the bottom of the page, at the foot of the page, they're at the end of the text. So it may be because the endnotes themselves are extremely detailed. So it might be a lot of extra information, which would, just for practicalities really, to put it on the page, it might take up half of the page. So rather than doing that, the author uses endnotes instead at the back of the finished text, so that it's not a distraction, it doesn't take up too much space because of the level of detail. So as it says here, they're highly detailed. When multiple pages are using lots of reference notes or the notes are very long, it may be better for authors to use endnotes. But it's the same thing. They're referring, they are telling you where the reference is from in the text. So same purpose, endnotes and footnotes. Excuse me. Types of reference materials and resources. So we need to match these. So we've got footnotes, glossary, visual aid, key, and footnote again. So we've got a direct quote and a paraphrasing, and we need to match these examples to those. So what type of reference is it? So if you read if we go for the first one, I'll read it out loud, and if you can tell me which one it matches to. So, ferrule protective cover on end of walking stick. So what is that an example of? A footnote, glossary, visual aid, or key? So we can rule things out. Does it have a date of publication, an author, title as a footnote? Or would it require that? Is it like does it need, sorry, is it a definition of something? So an explanation of a particular word, as in a glossary? Is it an image? Okay, is it an explanation of symbols? So which one of those is that example?
The key.
So a key is an explanation of symbols on, for example, a map.
Yeah.
So ferrule protective cover on the end of a walking stick. So, right, if that one's a bit tricky, so let's try the next one. The rise in crime, it should be, there's an E missing there. The rise in crime is proportional to the increase in poverty. And we can see that there's inverted commas there around part of it. So it's quoting another text. So what does that match to? The rise in crime is proportional to the increase in poverty. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, but you need to tell me which type it is. That one needs a footnote because they are directly quoting from a text. So it would need, if that was in a document, then it would need a footnote to say where that came from. So is it a footnote that uses paraphrasing, or is it a footnote with a direct quote? Pardon? So this one has a direct quote. So we've got the inverted commas here. So we know they are using someone else's words. They've not paraphrased that information into their own words. They are quoting directly from another text. So if that was found in a text you were reading, then it should have a footnote to tell us where that quote came from. Okay, does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions about that?
No.
No, okay. So the next one, we've got, so it is very tiny, I appreciate that, it's quite hard to see, but we have got some symbols and definitions beside them. So where might you find that? And that will help you to know, is it glossary, visual aid, or a key?
I will say key.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so that most commonly is seen on a map, for example. So let's go to the bottom one here. We've got a 3D graph. So what is that? Is that a glossary, a visual aid, or a footnote? A graph.
Glossary.
So it's an image. So it's not going to have a direct definition like in a dictionary, is it? It's an image which you might find to help your understanding of the text. So this one's actually a visual aid because it's a visual, an image, or a visual aids our understanding. So for example, this could have been found in you know, year by year, the profits increased. And then we have like a graph to help our understanding of how those profits increased. So it's a visual aid. The visual aids your understanding of what you're reading.
Okay.
So we've got this glossary, which we know it's like a mini dictionary in a text to explain technical words or phrases. So we've got glossary, or we've got footnote, paraphrase. So which one? So it's this one here we've got left, and this one here. So one of them is a definition in a glossary, and the other one is text that requires a footnote because of it's paraphrased someone else's words. So ferrule protective cover on end of walking stick. That sounds to me like it's a definition of some kind of cover on a walking stick. So is that a glossary? Is that glossary or footnote?
Footnote.
So is this this is not a paraphrase of someone else's words. Let's look at the other one.
Oh.
All
No,
changes.
Yeah.
Pardon?
I think is the first one is glossary.
Good. So I'm not sure it would have helped if they'd given us the original word, but it's telling us that whatever the original word is, the meaning is a ferrule protective cover on the end of a walking stick. So it's glossary, it's like a mini dictionary. And then the last one, all changes were due to the decline in traditional forms of mail. So where has that paraphrasing come from? We would need a footnote.
Yeah.
Tell us where that information has come from. So at the end of the document, there would be a, sorry, let me just. Okay, so let's move on. So types of sources. So when someone is writing, they can use sources from anywhere. And those are split into 3 different types. So we have primary sources, which are first-hand sources. The original idea or thought. So, for example, they could be novels, diaries, interviews, an image, sort of photograph, an original photograph, the results of an experiment, statistics or statistical data, a first-hand account of something, and news footage as well would be a primary source. Secondary sources are interpretations and evaluations of sources. So something written about or using a primary source. So a history book, for example, a historical book might be might be writing about news footage of something happening. So it's using a primary source of news footage that was made at the time, but then that text will be a secondary source because it's writing about the primary source. Okay, a biography, so a book about somebody else's life, is a secondary source. If it was an autobiography that you have written yourself about your own life, that would be a primary source because it's your story, you're the it comes, you know, from your memories and so on. But if it was a biography written by somebody else, that's secondary. Does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions? No? So, and then we also have tertiary or third sources. So these are collections of primary and secondary sources, and they might be reference materials, databases, textbooks, and things like Wikipedia. Okay, so all of those types of sources might be found in documents or texts, and it might be one or it might be two, or you could find all of them. Okay, so we're on to our quiz. So, which is an incorrect way to look up a word? In a dictionary, in a glossary, online, or there is not an incorrect way? So do you think it's one of those or all of them?
One of those.
So so you don't understand a word. We know we could look it up in a dictionary. Could we look it up in a glossary if there is one?
Yeah, if you don't understand, check in the dictionary.
Pardon?
I could check the
So we could
dictionary.
look it up. Yeah, we could look it up in a dictionary. We could also, could we check a glossary if there was one?
Yeah.
Is that another option? Yeah. Could we look it up online if we didn't have a dictionary available? We could Google it. So all of those. The answer is D. There isn't an incorrect way. However, you can look up the word. That is fine.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So it depends what you need to do. So sometimes it might be better to look in a dictionary or a glossary, but you know, any way that helps you to understand, that is fine.
Okay.
So which of the following is not a reference tool? A key, B a footnote, C a backnote, D a glossary, E an endnote. So which one of those have we not looked at today? So one of those is something we have not talked about today. So did we learn about a key?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that one. Did we learn about footnotes?
Yes.
Did we learn about backnotes?
No.
No.
No. So it must be C. Okay, so it's just helping us there, reminding us that footnotes are at the bottom of a page and endnotes at the end of a text. Okay, glossaries. Where are you most likely to see a glossary? A, an instruction manual, B, an email, C, a newspaper article, or D, an advert?
A.
Good. So if we remember that a glossary helps us to understand unusual or technical words or phrases. If you're following an instruction manual, it's quite technical. So that's where we would be most likely to find a glossary. So here on the right in the blue box, we've got a glossary of terms for the rules of chess. Which of the below is an abbreviation? So an abbreviation is a shortened word or initials that is short for something else. So is it A, back rank, B, bullet chess, C, KT, D, mobility, or E, skewer? Which one of those is an abbreviation?
C.
Good. So Katie, and we can look at the glossary here, and it tells us Katie is short for night, so it's the first and last letter. So that's an abbreviation. It's short for something else. Well done. So which of the below defines an aggressive move? So back rank, we read the definition in the glossary, a player's first rank. That sound aggressive? No.
No.
B, bullet chess, a version of the game where players have only 1 minute per move. Does that describe an aggressive move? No. Katie, we've already looked at that, is short for night. Mobility, the ability of a piece to move around the board. Is that an aggressive move?
No.
No. So we've got skewer, an attack on a valuable piece.
Yes.
Yeah. So the attack, that word there, tells us it's aggressive. Good.
Yeah.
If you're ever not sure, you just look at all the answers. If you do have any multiple choice type questions that you come across, just rule them out and find the one that fits. Don't just be scared off or overwhelmed by all of those answers. Just work through them and find the one that fits best. So which of the below shows a player's ability? So A, a back rank, B, bullet chess, C, KT, D, mobility, or E, skewer.
B.
So bullet chess describes a version of the game where players only have 1 minute per move. So that's not describing their ability. So by their ability, we're thinking of what position or ranking they might have.
I think mobility.
So that's the piece moving around the board. So it's a bit tricky this if you don't know the word rank. So the word rank refers to where they would come in a list of the best players. So like
right.
first place, third place, so on. So a ranking system. So if you're familiar with say football, you know, the after every weekend after the matches, then they'll show the table, and they might not use the word rank, but they'll rank them in order. So you'll at the top will be the team with the most points. Similarly, it's often used in sport. In tennis, you will hear them talking about the rankings. So who's the best player in the world, and then who's the next best player? That's talking about their rankings, where they would come. So so the answer there, because I've spoke a lot about the word rank or rankings, is back rank. So a player's first rank, that tells you about their ability. So a piece's ability. So what can the piece do? Which one of those? So we've got the same in the glossary as we've got here. So which one of these definitions tells us about what the chess piece can do? So we know it's not the top one. We've already come across that. This one describes a version of a game. So that's not about the particular piece. We've already looked at KT, so it's not that one. So we've got mobility or skewer. So mobility is the ability. So we've got the word there. So that's helping us. The ability of a piece to move around the board. So do we think it's D? That would sound the most, the most likely, because we've got that word ability and it's there as well. And it's telling us what that piece can do. What's it able to do? The ability, what is it able to do? It can move around the board. If you saw this symbol on a map, what do you think it would represent? So that little picture there, what would it represent? Do you think a mosque, a hospital, a wildlife reserve, or a place of historical interest?
D.
Good. So that is actually used, if you looked at a map of Manchester, then with symbols on, then you would see that symbol to show you where there was a place of historical interest. I think it's supposed to look like a museum. I think that's what the you know, the front of the museum. I think that's why it's used. Okay, so but you wouldn't be expected to just guess like that. If you're doing an assessment and you're asked about what a symbol means, you would have a key. So you would be able to read the key and find what that symbol meant.
All right.
Okay. So what kind of source would you expect an article to be classed as? Primary, secondary, tertiary, or none of the above?
B.
B, secondary. Good, because they use other reference material. So an article about, excuse me. So an article could be about anything at all, but for example, an article about health would probably refer to studies that have been done. So say, I don't know, it was about smoking and the impact on health, then they would refer to studies that have been done to show the ill effects of smoking. They would need to reference those. They might use people's personal experiences. So again, they would be using the primary source of someone's own thoughts. So that would make it a secondary source. Well done. What kind of source would you expect a novel to be classed as? So fiction.
Oh, A.
A. Good, because it's just made up from, so novel, it's fiction, it's just made up from the writer's brain. Okay, so yeah, in its simplest form, it would be a primary source. Okay, so we've looked at reference materials and how to use them to find meanings in different text types. And you've got, you know how to use reference materials such as a glossary or a key to help your understanding. And also there at the end, you've been able to identify primary, secondary and tertiary sources. So well done. Does anyone have any questions about today's session? Okay, if you want to practice what we've been looking at today, which I would advise, you can, when you log on to the Moodle, the online learning environment, then you will be able to look for today's session and there will be some homework type activities to do. So you can have a look at those, have a go first and then check using the answers. Okay, if you have problems logging in, you can speak to the office and they will help you with that. Okay.
Thank you.
So have a good day, everyone. You're welcome. Have a good day. And I will see you
Bye.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye now.